Why is it so difficult to understand native Spanish speakers? You've been studying, you feel like you've got lots of vocab down, you can read a lot of Spanish, but the moment you go to speak with a native Spanish speaker, it all goes out the window. I've been there, believe me, and we get this question all the time. Why is it so difficult to understand native Spanish speakers? So today I'm going to give you 4 reasons why it's so difficult to understand natively spoken Spanish, and 4 ways you can improve your listening to better understand it. So let's get started. Hola amigos, Jim here from Spanish and Go, your resource for learning real-world travel Spanish. And today we're going to go over 4 reasons why it is so difficult to understand native Spanish speakers. So number 1, Spanish is one of the fastest spoken languages in the world, right after Japanese. Now there's a bunch of different ways to count the speed of a language. Some go by syllables, some go by words, but no matter how you look at it, Spanish is one of the fastest. This is a common complaint by Spanish learners. The moment they start speaking to a native Spanish speaker, they're going so fast that it's so hard to keep up.
Hola, ¿qué tal mi gente? ¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo les va? Soy Diego Ale y hoy es un nuevo video.
O sea, una bomba para el estómago, que es la cosa más deliciosa del universo.
One technique you can use to better understand fast Spanish is to start by slowing it down. Now, this might sound counterintuitive. Sure, you can ask a native Spanish speaker if you're talking to them to slow down and say, más lento, por favor. Or if you're listening to a podcast or a video on YouTube, there are actually speed controls available to you. I use this all the time when I'm listening to podcasts in English to speed things up, but you can also slow them down. You can do this in the native Apple podcast app, and you can do it natively in the YouTube player. Just click settings, and you can adjust the speed of what you're listening to. The audio gets a little distorted, but you can still understand and it'll still help you. Number 2. Another reason why Spanish can be really difficult to understand when you're talking to a native speaker is because the material you've been practicing with might be holding your hand a little too much. It might not be hard enough for you to really push yourself to listen to regular speed Spanish. The solution? Listen to natively spoken Spanish at a regular speed to push yourself. You need to get used to the flow and rhythm of the language and used to how quick it can be.
Hablas rápido también el normal.
Parra tenía una perra y Guerra tenía una parra. La perra de Parra subió a la parra de Guerra y Guerra pegó con la gorra a la perra de Parra. Y Parra le dijo a Guerra, oiga Guerra, ¿por qué ha pegado con la gorra a la perra de Parra? Y Guerra le dijo a Parra, si la perra de Parra no hubiera subido a la parra de Guerra.
This can be really tough, but a good technique would be to start by slowing down the material, listen through, and then try it again at a faster speed. That way you can start to pick up some things a little better than if you're just always listening at full speed. And you want to listen to Spanish in real context. So again, your resources for being able to do this range from podcasts, YouTube videos, Netflix, any kind of material that's available in Spanish for you to really push yourself. The third reason why Spanish can be so difficult to understand is because Spanish is a massive language. There are over 20 countries that have Spanish as the official language. It's the second most natively spoken language in the world, and it's spoken all over the place. Obviously, Spain and Europe, all the way down to the bottom of South America, Central America, and much of North America. So these incredible differences make for lots of pocketed areas with different accents, different slang, different vocabulary that people tend to use.
Chucho es frío en Argentina, Chucho en Chile es una cárcel, Chucho en México si hay alguien con el don de ser muy hábil. El chucho de Chucho es un chucho ladrando y por Chucho a Chucho lo echaron a Chucho. El Chucho era frío, lo agarró un Chucho que Chucho decía extraño a mi Chucho.
So if you happen to run across somebody who speaks Spanish and you try speaking with them, well, they could be from some country you've never even heard somebody speak Spanish from before.
Who is Equatorial Guinea?
Bueno, la Guinea actual es la que ha aprovechado racionalmente los productos petrolíferos. Estamos en vía de continuar mejorando todos los servicios para que el país sea autosuficiente
For example, when I went to Puerto Rico for the first time, the Spanish there was extremely difficult for me to understand because I wasn't used to how they would say certain things or how they would drop off an S at the end of a word or kind of merge two words together that I wasn't used to. That happens sometimes in Mexican Spanish too, and sometimes it just depends on who you're talking to. Some people use more slang, some people mumble, just like in any language. There are people who talk really fast, talk quietly, merge words together, and then there are other people who speak more clearly. But general accents can have trends too, where you're just knocking off letters at the end of words.
Verde que se usa para el mofongo,
Okay.
se usa para los totones
Ajá.
y para el mangú, verde.
Okay.
It can be really confusing. So what's the solution to this one? Well, focus on the type of Spanish that makes most sense for you to learn. We talked about this in another video. A lot of people thought I was just promoting Mexican Spanish. It's not the case. If you want to move to Spain and you want to live there and work there and get to know the people and the culture there, you should totally learn the Spanish in Spain, and you should probably be listening to tons of materials from people who are from Spain, so you get used to the accent and the flow and the vocabulary that they tend to use in Spain. I talk about Mexico a lot because I'm from the US. Tons of people from the US go to Mexico every year. It's the #1 country that people from the US tend to go on vacation to outside of the US. So what makes sense for somebody like me who's from the US? Well, okay, if you're gonna go to Mexico a lot and you want to explore Mexico, learn Mexican Spanish. If you want to go to Argentina, you should focus on the Argentine accent. Argentinian? You let me know in the comments what the right version of that is. But you get the idea. Once you focus on one accent, get used to that, and then it's going to be a lot easier to speak with native Spanish speakers from that area because you've trained your ear mostly to focus in on how it sounds in that country or that region. Then you can start to expand. I think it could be maybe a little bit more confusing if you try to learn everything at once. It helps to acclimate your ear to a certain region, and then once you come across another accent, you have something to compare it to and be like, oh, okay, well in Mexico they say it like this, but over here they're dropping off S's. Then it kind of takes away that roadblock of being able to understand that accent once you kind of have the comparison of, oh, okay, they just do it this way and this way. That's what kind of makes it different. I might be oversimplifying, but this will become really apparent as you start to travel to other Spanish-speaking countries, which is exactly what we hope to inspire you to do on this channel, to travel and explore different lands, different areas, learn about different cultures. That's what we're all about. So if you want to learn Spanish and travel, be sure to subscribe for more travel and Spanish tips. And the fourth reason why Spanish can be really difficult to understand is you might not be getting enough quality listening practice. Now when I mean quality listening practice, I don't mean just having a podcast on in the background while you're doing something else and texting your friends and watching a YouTube video. I don't know who actually does that, but you get the idea. You don't want to split your attention. If you're going to practice your listening skills, you really need to focus on your listening. I think it's really funny, there's a video on YouTube that talks about learning Spanish while you sleep, and I think that's kind of the myth that needs to be addressed here. Spanish doesn't just suddenly somehow mysteriously come into your head from listening to lots of it. So I'm sorry for anyone who thought you could learn Spanish while you sleep, but you can't. And if you think you can, leave me a comment. I'd love to chat with you, because that would be miraculous. That would be amazing. But unfortunately, I don't think it's true, and I think you really need to listen carefully to the Spanish that you're listening to for practice. So the obstacle is you're not getting enough quality listening practice, so what's the solution? Okay, listen close, sure. You could slow it down, that helps too. But a good way to really practice is to turn on subtitles and read the subtitles in Spanish. No English subtitles, because you're not going to really be paying attention to what's actually being said in Spanish if you're just reading it in English. While you're listening to whatever you're listening to, make sure you have some sort of transcript available or watch with subtitles like you can do on Netflix. I think pretty much every Spanish show or movie has subtitles. And like on our YouTube videos, pretty much all of our Spanish lessons have English and Spanish subtitles. What you're gonna wanna do is turn on the Spanish subtitles, follow along, and that'll really help you kind of piece apart what is being said, especially if it's said too fast. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell for more travel and Spanish tips. That way you won't miss anything. And let me know in the comments, what was your favorite tip? And did I miss anything? I'll chat with you there, and remember, el camino es el destino. The journey is the destination. So nos vemos pronto.